Hello and welcome to another video. Today I'm using this stamp of a alien girl. I don't think you can buy this stamp set anymore, but this technique will work with any kind of stamp set. So I'm just inking her up with some Ranger Archival Jet Black ink, but you can use any ink for this. I just like this ink because it's very black. And then I'm stamping this off to the side. I did stamp her a little bit too crooked here, I think, but it's fine anyways. I just wish I'd stamped it a bit more straight. So I'm just making sure I press down all over the stamp so it stamps perfectly. And then now I'm coloring it with colored pencils. So I'm using these green bluish colors, and kind of funny how the one that looks darker is actually lighter. So I'm starting out with the lightest color, and I'm just very faintly coloring in all the areas I'm using that color for. Once I've done that, I'm going in with the next color, and I'm just coloring around the outside where the shadows would be. And this tip is a bit dull, so it didn't show up perfectly, so I'm going to go back and do the face again. But once I have colored everything with that color, I'm going back in with the light one, and now pressing a bit harder and going over the same area a lot, I am coloring in the rest. By first doing it faintly and then going over it harder makes it a lot more, it makes it blend a lot more and it looks nicer. So now I have sharpened the pencil, the darker one, and I'm just going it over it again, making it slightly darker than it was before. Now I've also colored in the neck, and now I'm just going in with my rubber, just making the middle areas slightly lighter, just adding some more dimension to it. And then I'm moving on to the arms, just underneath them and where the shadows would be, and just doing exactly the same technique, as well as with the legs. The two colors I'm using are quite similar in shade, so if you want some more dimension to it, you can just take some colors that are further apart, but I'm fine with this. So once I've finished coloring in her body, I'm moving on to her dress, and I'm using these purple colors, and it's the same with these ones. The one that looks darker is actually the lightest one, and the other way around. So I'm just going in with the lightest one, and I'm coloring in the whole dress with that, just very faintly. And then I'm moving on to the other one, and here it is a bigger difference between the two colors, and it makes it more 3D and more dimensional. So I'm just adding that where the shadows would be, so it's underneath the pocket and around the outside. And then now here you can really see how these blend when you add the lighter color again. It doesn't blend like with pro markers or flex markers, but it does blend quite a bit, and it looks really nice. And it doesn't take as long as with those markers. This is a really fast technique, and it's just very simple to do, and it just requires some colored pencils, which most people have at home. I just use any kind, it doesn't have to be any professional ones. So now I'm moving on to her shoes, and I'm just doing exactly the same with just coloring it faintly and then adding some darker one and then going back over it again. So now I'm moving on to the balloons as soon as I've colored the bows. So I'm using these two yellow colors. Here they are the color they show on the outside, which is very nice. So I'm just starting out with the lightest one again, and then going around the outside, mainly focusing underneath the balloon where I think the shadow would be. The tip of my pencil broke, so I just went in with another yellow. They're very similar in color, I couldn't tell the difference, so it didn't really matter. So now I'm using some blues, and one of them is from Bell Color. The other ones I've been using, I don't really know where they're from, but I used to use one other one. And yeah, so I'm going out around the outside as well with this one, and this balloon is behind the other one, so it's got some shadow there as well. And then I'm just colouring it the same way as before. So I'm just going in with my rubber again to add the highlight, and then this one you can shape as you want it, and it makes it a little bit easier to colour it. So now I'm moving on to the sentiment, and I'm just taking this one. It's from the birthday messages stamp set from Simon Says Stamp, and then I've cut this happy birthday one apart so I can stack it on top of each other and make it into 2 lines. So once I've done that, I put them onto my Fiskars compact stamp press, and then I'm using some distress markers. This one is Seedless Preserves, and then I'm also using some peacock feathers and picked raspberry, and I'm just using the brush tip, and I'm colouring in the words. I did this because I wanted the words to have different colours, but I still wanted to stamp them all at once, and it makes it a bit easier. And also I only have these colours on distress markers, I don't have them on the inks, so I just use the markers. I think this is a great way to get the most out of your markers, because you can use them for this as well. So I'm just tilting the marker to the side, just making it easier to colour in. These stamps are outline stamps, the 2 bottom ones, the happy birthday ones, so it's a bit tricky to do it, but it works great. So now I'm just breathing onto it to get some of the moisture back in there, and these react with water, so that helps them stamp better. So then I'm just lining it up and stamping it onto the card, and just pressing it down. Once I've stamped it, I'm taking some water brush, and I'm just going over those areas and just kind of filling in the middle of it with the colour from the outside. This is not watercolor paper, so I'm not adding a huge amount of water. I just add a tiny bit. So it's not showing up a lot on this blue one. I will come back and do it once more. It's showing a lot more on the pink one here. And I just think this gives it a really nice effect, and it just adds some dimension and color to that as well. So now I realized that the blue one hadn't become that colored, so I just went back in and I colored the blue one again, and now it's just showing up a lot more. So once I've done that, I just folded the card and I used my bone folder to crease it. And then once I had done that, the card is done. So here's a picture of the final card, and I think this card is great for younger kids, and this card, like this technique, can be used for so many things. You can color in any images. It's like coloring with any kind of markers. You can do anything with them. If you want to color, like you can color anything. If you have an image you really like, go ahead and color it this way, because it's really fun and it's a creative way to use these kind of markers. Normally, or pens, normally when you want to color with colored pencils, you don't think about doing it 3D, you just think of it flat. But it's really easy to just add some 3D dimension to it. So I really hope you enjoyed this technique and that you keep on watching my videos. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!